Hey guys, it's me Ari and welcome back to my YouTube channel for a part 2 of the sex talk. And if you did not watch part 1, first you need to go back and watch part 1.
Go back and watch it.
Because we kind of touched upon a little bit of difference between sex and intimacy and the true purpose of sex. But in this part 2, we touched upon a little bit in the video about the woman and her body and the purpose of every being of the woman as far as entering into intimacy as it relates to why God created man and woman to come together for sex and intimacy as how do I want to say it? To bring glory back to Him. So the question is,
Okay.
Let's just start off the woman, her position,
Okay.
as it relates to.
Let me say this too. It's just a truth, and it's a spiritual principle.
Okay.
Men need sex.
Yes.
Bottom line. Women need intimacy. Okay?
Yes.
Now, how do you marry the two?
Mm-hmm.
Because if the woman doesn't understand what she needs, she can't receive from him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nor can she give to him.
Yes.
They go together.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, when God made man, He just wasn't sitting there watching TV and playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
That was not His purpose. He had a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Everything was created for Him to tend to. He had work. He didn't have a job. He had work. Be fruitful, multiply, govern this earth. Take this soil, till it, toil it, make things reproduce. Not just from, you just going in and have sex with your woman and y'all having a bunch of babies and you can't take care of them. When woman was brought out of man, she was never made to worry. She was never made to be insecure. She was never made to wonder where provisions were. He had the ability to put in energy, in the earth. That's a whole nother teaching, because I can tell you what energy literally means from the Hebrew term. So, for instance, he's in warfare. He always has work to do. Now, when he comes, I'm just going to use, so for instance, let me come to the modern day time.
Yes.
He's out there with work. He's fighting all these principalities, and particularly our black men.
Yes.
Okay? Mega minds. They were never created to do laborious work and not use their mind. But even when they do, and they're out there, whatever kind of work they are, they're holding in so much stuff, okay, in their hearts, in their mind. They need a release. Okay, where do they release all that stuff to? They're releasing what they're internalizing. Many women want them to talk about it. They need to screw about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get that out of them. Then you will have a good intimate conversation, which is what we need.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
You know, we're trying to get something from them without giving them the openness, the sanctuary, to say, give it to me. All your burdens, all your pain, all that you're holding into. Oh, I was about to say something. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand I'm a warrior. A warrior has to release. Then he can get into the intimate part. Does that make sense?
It does.
And we want something from them, and they're fighting. They're not fighting us. Too many of us are fighting. Too many men and women are fighting one another. When their fight is out there, but we got to know how to fight spiritually as the woman.
Right.
When they're out there fighting, you know what I'm saying, from a spiritual standpoint, but a natural standpoint as well. But I'm there. The man in my life, I am his safety.
Yes.
I am his worship. Come on now. I am his security. I am his confidant. I am the woman who can take all of his pain and he can release it. You see what I'm saying? And I can regurgitate it back out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That, and then I will get what I require, which is he can trust me.
Right.
He can trust me to talk about it, and I'm not bringing it back up in his face.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Oh my God, I have had. It's sad though. because I understand who I am as a woman, like I said on part one, I have had intimacy with men, not sex, but intimacy where a man will open up and talk to me. And I can't believe how so many women have tore
Them down.
that man down.
Yeah.
Because they might not, they might not have been able to perform sexually, and they were only constituted to how they perform.
Right.
Because we have had so many, a woman have had so many dicks that she's measuring his dick by somebody else's.
Yeah.
Bottom line, couldn't say it no other way.
No, but that's what
And you're
happens
losing
when
the
you're just
intimacy.
that's what happens when you're just having sex.
And you're losing the intimacy.
And you don't have any
Yeah.
sense of intimacy, or a woman is even understanding the purpose
Correct.
of intimacy.
Correct.
So you just look at it, well, can you please me in the bed? Can you do this? And then when you're looking at, not from what you just explained, but just sex, that's why women rob men of sex when they're not getting, like you said, intimacy. They're not getting what they necessarily desire. So they say, well, I ain't giving you this. I'm not failing to realize what you just explained of how, that intimacy, we need intimacy, they need sex, but we can't rob them of that trying to get our needs met.
Well, the thing is that which just goes to the point how the origin of it has been messed up, because there is no principle that will ever live or stand, or it's not a principle that any man is supposed to be compared with another man.
Right.
I'm just going to use for example, many women can't get their man to go to church because they're comparing them with the pastor.
Right.
And they fail to realize that pastor is a man. No man ain't gonna come hear nothing and nobody who you comparing me by. Now, that's just from a man's standpoint. Now, you having sex, no man is to be compared with how another man performed, how another man did, because the original intent was, when I assigned you that man, that's all you know.
Right.
So if you 2 inches, how the hell you gonna compare a man with 8 inches when they don't even know what to do with 8 inches versus the one with 2 inches know how to do what you need? You see what I'm saying? So now we have had so many sexual intercourses, we have distorted and perverted the purpose of it because the spirit of comparison. I am not made to compare myself with you as another woman. Many women compare themselves. So now men comparing themselves with comparing another woman to another woman based upon not sex more so, but what she can do for him. How she can provide for him. It's just so distorted.
Yeah.
It's so distorted.
It is. And then, women do it. Is she better in bed than me and all this different stuff. But it's not even a matter of all those things that we put energy into. Because when you understand your purpose, like you're explaining about, intimacy, and one, that should be with, and I just want to clarify this, that should be with your husband. Now,
correct.
Is it black or white? Some people have had sex before marriage, but in no way, shape, or form to me. Now, can I take away the essence of who I am as a woman? No. When I engage in sexual activity before marriage, did that take away the like you said, the intimacy part of me, being able to hear their heart? No. But I also still had an understanding that I cannot give all of that to someone who has not chose me as their wife.
And the thing is though, Ariel, see,
because if I did,
I'm not just a big advocate on marriage. But I understand what you're saying, and I'm not against marriage. But what I am saying is that it's so many things that we need to know before we get married.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, because I do have that understanding, because I do know that, most women could easily use that in a manipulative way, trying to get the marriage. Does that make sense? So if you're having sex before marriage, you could taint it to where you're sleeping and having sex with someone and offering the intimacy and doing all that stuff when they haven't even chose you as a wife, but your intentions in the back of your head is, I want the ring. I want the
and you have to be willing. I had a gentleman to reach out to me, and I know they see me on social media and all this other stuff, and they said, he looked like he could have been I ain't gonna say a great catch, but a good catch. Had himself together monetarily, I guess. Business. He was an entrepreneur. He was pretty decent looking. I could have looked at him. You know what I mean? I had a conversation with him, and out the gate he was like, I want you to be my woman. He was like, I'm moving fast and approachingly because I want you to be my woman. Now, I loved his assurity. I don't know his motive, you know what I'm saying, but I love his assurity. Second of all, I had to come to, I'm at a place in my life that I don't just accept anything because somebody said they want me to be their woman.
Right.
Own business, I'm a good assessor of his speech and things like that. Now, my purpose for saying all this is that I asked him, what is your purpose for you thinking that I am your woman? There's many women out here. Why me? You see what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in the flattery. You know what I mean? Because a lot of women get caught up in the flattery because he was stable, because he looked good, because he had a business, because he was doing well, his kids was grown. He had all the criteria that I could probably get into. But the question really is why me? You have to specifically tell me why me, because it's something about me that you got to see. And without you telling me, and that's sex, that's intimacy. When Adam knew Eve, he saw into her. If you can't tell me what you see in me versus what you see in all these other women that you can probably see on social media and you probably have reached out to and you probably do know, don't get flattered by it. Don't get moved by it. I have to stay in the purpose of knowing who I am, because if I get to make the wrong, even though he wanted a decision, I have to make a decision too.
Exactly.
He got a choice, but is that my choice? I would rather have somebody who could say, I see this in you, I see that in you, and I see that in you, and he don't have but two nickels rubbing together. But he can see. You see what I'm saying? Now, because of my power, because of my dunamis, because of my strength, I know that I have that supernatural ability to make those two nickels to be $2. Does that make sense? But he sees something in me. Women, we get too flattered. And then if I had gotten into that, and then he had a big mandingo penis, and the sex was good, I could easily be set up by the enemy.
Yeah, you can.
I could easily be set up. And then I'm a futuristic thinker. Then down the line, stuff come up because I got deceived and bamboozled by all the right things that looked, and I was flattered.
You were flattered, and that is in my generation what happens all the time. Because we're looking for marriage, we're looking to be the wife, we're looking to have this imagery, and so because we haven't got an understanding or development of who we are as women, even to ask a man, what do you see in me, even being confident in that aspect, we just look, oh, check, 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 he love God, he go to church, check, 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 this must be the one. Because he was assured in his confidence. Because I told you the same thing that happened to me with the 50-year-old man. He was very serious about, I want to pursue you as my wife. He's 50 and I'm 28.
And when you told him you need to be my mom, and I'm his age, he never reached out because he had impure motives. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Impure motives.
But like you said, I love the assurity. But that did not mean that I had to accept it. But it was a reminder for me that Ariel, at least it was a confirmation that what he said and what he spoke, that I am walking confidently in, although I don't have a ring, although I'm not married, but it also brought assurance that, because when you're rejected by men in your generation, you're like, is something wrong with me? So it still brought assurance that I do carry the qualities that a husband or whatever, or a man would want within a wife.
And that just, but there's and there's a lot of, what we get caught up on is the black and white. Yeah. And there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of variables to it. There's a lot of contributing factors to it. Because although you may be 28, let's go back to the 50-year-old, the 28-year-old. Although chronologically you may be 28, the way that you have been taught spiritually, naturally, structure, leadership, development, I always tell you, you were born into leadership. Spiritually wise, he was attracted to the 45-year-old woman, although chronologically you're 28. But that don't mean you have to settle for that, because the reality of it is that he's 50, you're 28. So the variables are, what about your children? You know what I'm saying? When your child is 10, he's 60. You know what I'm saying? So he can't give what someone parallel to you all to grow together in life.
Right.
Now, could he have taken care of you? Probably yes.
Yeah.
Could he made you secure? Yes. But you got to think futuristic. Where is this going to pan out futuristic of what you aspire?
And
You see what
not
I'm saying?
and like you said, and not settling and compromising
For today.
Yeah, for today.
Yes, yes.
But also knowing, you know, even as a woman, like when we're going back to sex as you relate to worship and the throne room, but knowing your assignment. So let's just close on this note of
Okay.
one, your husband being your assignment.
Okay.
Because oftentimes when it comes to the fact that you said men need sex, women need intimacy, you know, when I think about assignment, sometimes it's something that we don't always want to do, right?
Oh, you don't.
And so let's just, you've been married, I never have, but I don't think every day of marriage is just glorious, right?
No.
So let's end on this note about, you know, intimacy and sex being as it relates to worship, how that relates to a woman's assignment when it comes to, you know, actually both of their assignments as it relates to sex and intimacy.
Well, we only have a few minutes, but I can't. It's so much of a teaching that has to take place.
Yes.
However, let me just say this: the original plan that God had has been totally jacked up. Okay,
Yes.
that's the purpose of Christ. Christ lives on, I'm going to use me for an example. Christ lives on the inside of me. He lives on the inside of you as a woman, you too, but I'm talking about me because I that's my life. Now, based upon my maturation, okay, some people's Christ can be 2 months old, some people's Christ can be 28 years old. My Christ may be 75 years old. According to my maturation is according to my assignment. The more you grow in Christ, the more he can trust you
Right.
to love the hell out of his men, out of his sons. I really have been assigned, and it's not because I'm married. He has trusted me with the hearts of his sons.
That sounds like you.
He's trusted me with the hearts of his son. It had nothing to do with the penis. It had nothing to do with the sex. Now,
Yes.
maybe have I fallen in that area once or twice? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. But it did not negate the assignment.
And I'm glad you said that because in this season, many women who are single and who are desiring marriage, and I'm not saying that God did not intend for marriage to be in our lives and for us to be wives, but I really believe that he's looking for daughters that he can trust with the
Yes.
hearts of his sons, because these are his sons, and no longer are his sons going to be put in the hands of women who are going to abuse them and to tear them down and to just look at the size of their penis and not realizing their assignment and understanding the heart of men. And I feel like, you know, as single, and that's what we talk about a lot, and you know, my writing in the blogs about, you know, understanding your singleness as a purpose and walking within your singleness and not just looking at it as a statement, but there's something that is required of you within your single journey, so that when you enter into marriage, when you become a wife, that you are not just doing it for what the world is saying. You're not just making a look or trying to copy what you've been seeing and comparing, but you understand your position, your purpose as the woman within that household, and also as a wife as it relates to the man and the son that God has sent you. And so,
And I
yeah.
want to say this real quick before we go, because you use the word single. See, these words I have to really help define. When you say walk in your singleness and pursue your singleness, really what she's saying is walk in your wholeness. Okay? Single is not a status. The world say, are you single, divorced, married? That's a
It's not a
status.
status, yeah.
Single is, are you whole?
It's a statement.
It's a statement. Are you complete? Now, some people, Ariel, in closing this, so I won't do a part 3, 4, and 5, is depending on your level of growth, you need a man. Based upon your level of growth, you see my hand, you require a man. So it's a difference between needing. And I'm going to use this for an example. Some women get a husband, they could be believing for a husband, and God will give it to them in 2 years. Some women been believing God for 20 years. What makes this 2-year-old woman in Christ get a husband and a 20-year-old woman been still believing? Because if God did not give her that husband, he would have lost her.
Exactly.
He knew, Devada, you can wait because I'm not going to lose you. Come on now. Don't make me go in. So she needed that for her own stability. She needed that. So don't compare yourself.
Nope.
Because she wasn't willing to grow in to love the hell out of a man. So I had to give her a nice loving pastor. I had to give her a nice that he didn't have so much hell because of his heart. But I can trust you with a man who you could pray for and travail for without having to go in sexually.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Well, I think we're gonna
Woo!
close on that note. We're gonna close on that note. But what I
Maybe
will
type this,
say,
right?
it is men though have been sent in my life to develop me to the place of where I am, but they were not my husband.
It's a boomerang.
It's a boomerang effect. So we are not gonna go into part 3. So it's up for you to connect with myself as well. So always follow me on Hey Ari Speaks on Instagram, social media, and go to the website heyari.com. And definitely you can connect with us at Dunamis Woman as you dig deeper in your faith and experience the healing power of God. So thank you for watching for the adult sex talk, and we will come back. Maybe I'll have her on for another video for you guys. But we'll see.
If you want the real X-rated part, go to Dunamis Woman.
All right, talk to you guys later.